I heard her scream. I looked up, and I do not recall this, but I was told that I yelled, "He's got a gun."
Coming up, the hero who took down the gunman in a deadly Florida yoga shooting speaks out. Plus, troopers identify the man killed after lying down in the middle of Interstate 75. And after 4 bike riders were hit by a car in Venice, a protest to increase safety along Center Road. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC 7 News at noon.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news today at noon, some Venice residents are calling for change along Center Road. That's where 4 bike riders were hit by a car last week. ABC 7's Marla Spence has more on what protesters want to see happen along Center Road.
These protesters are here on Center Road and East Village Drive in Venice, advocating for changes to this road after 4 cyclists were hit and injured last week.
And we're not taking it. We want it to be safe, don't we, people? Yeah!
Residents of 6 Venice communities and members of the Coastal Cruiser Bicycle Club want to reduce speed limits from 45 to 35 miles per hour and have a traffic light installed on the road where 4 cyclists were hit and injured last week Tuesday. As of yesterday, 1 of the 4 cyclists were released from the hospital, while 1 is now in fair condition and the other 2 in critical condition. One protester tells us she and many others have been advocating for road changes well before Tuesday's accident.
This intersection behind us is a very dangerous intersection. I know firsthand about this intersection. My husband and I were coming out of church on Christmas Eve and we were broadsided. We're going to suffer with those injuries for the rest of our lives.
Many drivers are driving well in excess of 55 miles an hour on Center Road.
Residents tell us the speed limit and the lack of a traffic light isn't the only issue. They say a big business development is set to be constructed near the road, which will cause more traffic in addition to a nearby school and church.
Mr. Caldwell now wants to put a business right in this corner right here. And he's going to have 339 parking spaces that he wants to exit on to East Village Drive. He has 3 exits on Center Road. We live here. We go to church here. Our children go to school here. We need safety.
Protesters and residents here in Venice plan to be at a county commission meeting on Wednesday to advocate for a street light and reduce speed limits in this area. They also plan to voice their views on not wanting Caldwell Trust to build additional buildings that'll result in more traffic in this area. I'm Marla Spence reporting in Venice for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Marla, thank you. Troopers are still trying to find the pickup truck driver who struck and killed a pedestrian in Bradenton over the weekend. The crash happening on 301 Boulevard East at 41st Avenue East in Bradenton Saturday night. Troopers say the 64-year-old victim was walking across the street when he was hit. The driver then took off. Now troopers are searching for the driver of a black 2006 to 2008 Chevy Silverado pickup truck. Call the Florida Highway Patrol if you can help them find that driver. New details now on a deadly crash on I-75 in Sarasota County. Troopers have identified the man who died after lying down in the middle of the interstate last Tuesday night. 41-year-old Brent Cangelosi died in the southbound lanes of the interstate near Clark Road exit after he was run over by a car. Troopers say that crash remains under investigation. Time now to get a check on our weather today with meteorologist John Scalzi on a Monday. Yeah, here we are starting our new week.
Yes, sir.
With some, I don't know, warmer, more humid.
That covers it all.
Not like Saturday. Let me just put it that way. Saturday
was that not the best?
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. That was really nice. And I think we're going to have to wait a little while before we get that again. The weather we have today and we will have over the next several days is probably going to be with us for at least 5 days, really? And then we'll get a little bit of a break, but not the kind of break that we had last Saturday. Oh. No, man, that was spectacular, right? So we're looking at the Lakewood Ranch webcam. Put it into motion. You'll watch a few high clouds begin to move in. Then the sunshine and heating start to tap into the moisture that's around, and we start to get some locally grown clouds that are kind of those more cumulus clouds, up in the puffy kind of clouds. Those will have an outside chance of producing maybe an isolated passing sprinkle. Riding up from the south, they'll drift northward, but really there's not much of a chance of rainfall today. The mass of rain showers that you see located to the north and off the mid-Atlantic coast are part of a stalled frontal boundary, the warm front. that lifted back north after having brought us that cooler air on Saturday and the bout of severe weather across the state of Florida on Friday. Some pretty good rainfall totals as well as damage from some of those storms that moved through. We'll probably not see anything like that this week. We'll be looking at pretty quiet, tranquil conditions for the next several days with temperatures that continue to climb. We're looking right now at temperatures most everywhere in the 80s, some kind of trying to get up there toward the mid-80s, 83 degrees in inland areas, and we'll be well above average for our daytime high today, coming in probably around 86 or so. We'll have the complete forecast for you in just a second, Scott.
John, thank you. A Sarasota man is facing 17 counts of child porn after police received cyber tips from a national organization. Those tips came from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children last month. Police searched the home of 46-year-old Michael Grider, where child pornography was found on his computer. Grider is now being held on $170,000 bond. Now to that deadly shooting at a yoga studio in Tallahassee on Friday. The city of Tallahassee coming together Sunday in honor of the victims who were shot and killed. Police say 40-year-old Scott Burley opened fire, wounding 6 and killing 2 women before taking his own life. One man's being called a hero for saving lives during the shooting by confronting that gunman.
The only thing that was there that I could think of was this vacuum with a heavy end, and so as soon as he came around the corner, the gun stopped. I used that opportunity. I hit him over the head with it.
Thanks to him, I was able to try to rush out of the door. I was slipping. I was dripping blood everywhere because I got shot through my thigh. He saved my life.
The shooter was a military vet who worked for a short time as a high school teacher. In the past, he's been charged with battery for allegedly groping women. In the wake of that shooting in Tallahassee, at least one Suncoast yoga studio is increasing security. The owners of Pineapple Yoga Studio in Burns Court now plan to start locking their door before yoga class begins. Robert Karaki says it's a shame it's come to this, but he says they can't afford to put their clients' safety at risk. He calls it a sad sign of the times.
Usually we have people coming and going, even when they're coming late in class. And now we have to make sure that we've told everybody, please arrive a couple of minutes before class, and we're going to be locking the door. And so, yeah, things have changed. It's a shame, but, you know, we got to do that.
He says they're also asking instructors to double check the area in front of the building before class begins. He also expressed condolences for their colleagues in Tallahassee. A Florida teen remains behind bars after he was charged with strangling his mother to death in an argument over bad grades. The 15-year-old is also accused of weaving a twisted plot to cover it all up. Police say it all started last week when the teen and his mom, 46-year-old Gail Clevenger, fought over his recent performance in school.
In particular, a D that he received in a certain subject. A very loud and boisterous and contentious argument ensued.
That night, the boy allegedly waited until midnight to choke his mom to death, later getting the help of 2 friends to move her body into a van and then bury it in a fire pit at a nearby church. The next day, investigators say the teen went to school like normal, even texting his stepfather as if nothing was wrong. Then later called 911 to report a burglary at his home, claiming his mom was missing. Prosecutors are still deciding whether to try him as an adult. All right, ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now with a check on Wall Street so far today. Kind of a mixed market to start a new week, huh?
A mixed market, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the month of October, which is finally behind us. But even with that being said, last week, all 3 of the indices that we follow every day were up by at least 2%. So a little bit of salvation there. And as far as today is concerned, well, guess what? Yes, as Scott just said, a mixed market. But again, let's review. Last week was positive, and year to date, yes, year to date, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up by just over 4%, the S&P up by over 3%, and the leader, despite weakness lately, is the NASDAQ, which is up by more than 7%. That being said, let's take a look and see where we stand right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 110 points, 0.4% at 25,380.84. That on volume of 491 million shares. The NASDAQ is the loser of the day, down 76 points, just over 1% at 7,279.19. That on volume of 841 million shares. And the S&P a little bit higher. We'll take it up 3 points, just over 0.1%, at 2,726.71. Dine Brands, a name you probably are not familiar with, but guess what? You're familiar with what they own. How about IHOP and Applebee's? The company came out today and said their sales are well ahead of expectations. They have now had 4 consecutive quarters with same-store sales on the rise, and they're doing everything right. They have 3,700 restaurants in total, and they give a lot of credit to their recent success for $1 margaritas, which they're calling Dollaritas. And oh, by the way, if you happen to own the stock, you've done rather well. This year, the stock is up by 70%, and over the last 12 months, the stock is up by 93%. So I guess Applebee's has found a niche. IHOP was selling burgers.
Yeah.
Put it all together, it works.
It's working, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Richard, we'll see you again at 5.
I'll be here.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Still to come in your Suncoast News, how classic literature appears to be helping some dementia patients. And times are changing. The new policy from the American Academy of Pediatrics on spanking. The story coming up.
The ABC 7 Stock Report is sponsored by Sunset Cadillac.
Every day we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Everybody can make something, because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we are warming up. We've got an 81-degree air temperature. We have a south-southwest wind coming in at about 10. And a dew point value that's still in the 70s. That's really high. Dew point value in the 70s is a summer-like dew point value, and that's going to be with us really straight through the week, I think. It might even go up a little bit more than that. as we head into the second half of the week, and our winds tend to turn a little bit more southerly or southwesterly even eventually as we head into Wednesday, Thursday kind of time period. So we have a mix of sun and clouds out there. We have a south-southwest wind coming in at about 10. I think we'll develop that little bit of a westerly component probably each and every afternoon as we develop a sea breeze. We're looking at 83 degrees by the time we get to 3 p.m. We'll probably have topped it out by about 86 or so, and then we'll head down in temperatures as we head into the evening. Radar right now very quiet across the area. I'm not looking at any echoes locally, but to the north of us, that's where our warm front is still stalled out. And it is producing some scattered showers here from about Cross City on up through Perry. They'll probably see some rain showers. This is generally lifting off to the north or northeast a little bit. And it'll give the Big Bend region again a little bit of a chance of getting some rainfall. That's really not headed our way in any way, shape, or form. You really need this kind of boundary that's located up there with that frontal boundary to produce any kind of rainfall. It gently lifts the air and creates the showers we see. Then it wraps up around a low-pressure area in the mid-Atlantic, producing some rain showers anywhere from the Delmarva all the way up through New York. And that will be the case throughout the afternoon today as well. So if you do have an airplane that's headed toward New York or D.C. later this afternoon, you might want to just call ahead and make sure everything's running on time because low cloud bases. Nothing really severe here quite yet. Tomorrow might be a better chance of seeing severe weather. We have this area of low pressure that could produce some severe weather. In fact, the Severe Storm Prediction Center gives it a decent chance of producing tornadoes or gusty winds or large hail as the whole system progresses and dives deeper to the south. There's our frontal boundary. It's really not going anywhere. It'll eventually just wash away in parts of North Florida. There's our secondary front that'll be diving south, helping to induce those severe thunderstorms that I talked about in parts of the deep south today. And for us, we stay on the warm air side of the whole scenario without much of a chance of seeing any kind of large-scale fronts move our way anytime soon. We'll probably have to wait till probably Friday night or Saturday morning, more likely, to see a front move through here that'll lower our temperature a little bit. But it's probably not until the middle of next week that we really get any real relief from the heat. Sun-cloud mix, warm and humid afternoons, and a tad bit cooler this weekend. But maybe by the middle of next week, we'll get a little bit cooler blast of air come our way. South wind at about 10 knots, getting a little bit lighter as we head into the afternoon, turning southeast overnight, 2-foot seas, light chop. And the forecast kind of shaping up like this. Looks pretty good, actually. We'll have 86 today and tomorrow, and the day after really see no chance of rainfall to speak of within that time period. Maybe an isolated quick shower, but that would be it. And then as we head into the weekend, that front approaches and brings us a slight cool down back to about average for this time of year by Sunday. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. And HealthSmart classic literature appears to help dementia patients. As John Trina reports, a Las Vegas facility is using old books to help people bring back memories.
It's amazing, the power of a story. How something written so long ago, like Treasure Island, can bring back memories, trigger something inside us.
Brings back memories.
For folks like Shirley Gregg, a 30-minute story helps keep the mind active. Fitting that they make this discovery at a place called Poets Corner, a home for people with memory problems like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Their moods elevate right away. I think we're going back into their memories where they not only recognize the story, but they recognize the story maybe that they read to their kids or that their mom and dad read to them.
They tried other things, simple stories with pictures, nursery rhymes, Curious George, but the people who live here grew bored of it, frustrated. It was when they used the classics, those old books, opened new feelings.
I think for us it was a breakthrough, and the families, when they learned what we were doing and how we were doing it, they've been exceptionally supportive and very excited about it as well.
John Trina reporting. Parents disciplining their children should avoid spanking. That's according to a new policy from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Among the methods not advised, spanking, slapping, insulting, and shaming. Instead, the group advises mothers and fathers to use what it calls healthy forms of discipline, which includes giving positive reinforcement and setting expectations and limits. So it's time for lunch. Let's get over to the kitchen and welcome our guest today, Chef Thomas Borelli from Jack Dusty Restaurant at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Sarasota. Thomas, great to have you in our kitchen today. What's on your menu for today?
Thank you, Scott. Today we're preparing a marinated grouper that's going to be cooked inside of a banana leaf.
Ready to open up new opportunities as an electrician? Don't do it yourself. Team up with Mr. Sparky instead. We're locally owned and looking for people like you. We offer our electricians great perks that you just won't get going it alone. And whether you're an apprentice, a master electrician, or somewhere in between, we have a spot for you.
Best decision I ever made.
Apply online or call today.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live.
I live.
She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
The world is a beautiful place again.
Join the Voices for Recovery. For confidential information for mental and substance use disorders, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
Back to the kitchen now, where John is with our guest today, Chef Thomas Borelli from Jack Dusty at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. John?
And indeed, it is a pleasure to have you here, Thomas. Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Your first time in our kitchen,
It
and
is
we're
my
certainly
first
glad to
time.
have you here.
Yes.
So what you cooking for us today?
So today we're going to be doing a marinated grouper wrapped in banana leaf.
Ooh.
So what we're going to marinate it
Sounds
in.
very tropical.
Yes, it is. What we're going to marinate it in is salsa verde. So here I have the roasted tomatillos, garlic, shallots, a little bit of jalapeno.
And for those not familiar, the tomatillo is...
Well, tomatillo is a plant. It's from the nightshade family. It's actually called the tomatillo plant, and the fruit is called tomatillos.
Okay.
So looks like a little green tomato. It's got a good acidity to it.
If you see them in the grocery store, sometimes they come with like a
Yeah.
wrapper around them almost, right?
Yep, they come with a little husk around it. You want to discard those. And because you can't eat those, and they have a little bit of like a waxy kind of sappy coating on them that you want to wash off.
Cilantro? That smells like cilantro,
Yeah.
right?
So I got some
yummy.
cilantro here, and so we roasted all that stuff off. You want to make sure you cool it down all the way, so it doesn't. It will change the color of the cilantro if you don't cool it down before you blend it up.
Oh. So you put it in the cool down the cilantro.
Yep. Make sure it's all cooled all the way down. And just start blending it up. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there to get it going. It's like
They send you off with your plunger today?
yeah, needs a little inspiration here.
There you go.
So push it down a little bit. Back on. So in the meantime, we're going to get our grouper. season it up. The salt.
Just a little salt and pepper there?
Yep.
I'm going to pretend we've already done that, okay? So we can hear you okay.
And then
how long would this marinate then?
You can just do it right before you wrap it up. I'm just going to take the stuff that got it nice and smooth. You don't want any. You just do it right before you wrap it in the banana leaf.
Okay.
I'm not taking any of that stuff that didn't get blended there.
Right.
So we just marinate it up.
Oh, it smells so good. It smells really fresh.
And then, so then we're going to take some fresh hearts of palm. We're going to line the bottom of the banana leaf here.
And I've never seen that. You brought some along
with
you. This is like what they look like before you get them in the can, right?
Yeah. So this is this is fresh hearts of palm.
They taste very different than the canned ones?
Yeah, they're going to taste a lot different because they don't have any of the liquid, any of the kind of that preservatives in them. So it's going to taste really fresh.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to lay the bottom there.
And can you get those in stores here locally?
Yeah, you can find them probably in any kind of Latin store, or even Whole Foods probably could have them.
Okay.
They're not really too hard to find. So what I'm doing here is I'm wrapping corner to corner, and then just like a little present, pinch the edges down.
Right.
And then you're going to want to cook it face down. We're going to bake it in the oven at 400 degrees for probably about 15 to 17 minutes. And then when it comes out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
This is kind of a little like papillon or something like that, right?
Yeah, like an impapillo, except with a banana leaf. So it's going to really help keep all the flavor in and steam it very nicely and really concentrate the flavors. So another cool thing about the banana leaf is it's kind of nice for the presentation as well.
And while you finish that up with the sauce that I see you making over there, I'm going to remind everybody that the recipe for this is on our website, mysuncoast.com. You can just go on there and go to the view, actually, Suncoast View, and everything you need will be right there. So we'll watch you plate this up and just very, very briefly tell us what the sauce is you made.
So this is a pepper mojo. It's peppers, onions. We use sour oranges. A little bit of vinegar and oregano is a key ingredient here.
Wow, that sounds great. And we have the recipe for that as well, right?
Yes, there's recipes on the website.
Chef, great job for your first time. I'll tell you what, you handled it like a pro.
Yeah, thank you.
Nicely done. And this smells amazing. We'll be right back.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
One of the Suncoast favorite shows returns to the West Coast Black Theater. I'm Linda Carson. On Suncoast View, we preview Black Nativity with a live performance. Calusa Brewing talks about their International Beer Festival. We get a real estate market update in Suncoast for sale and learn how you can help fill empty bowls. That's going to be in our kitchen.
Tomorrow at 9 on Suncoast View.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind Your Meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
What would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Find out first at 4 with ABC 7 News at 4. Weekdays on ABC 7.
Coming up, the city of Sarasota considering installing parking meters in the downtown area. The big decision over paid parking. Plus, trial begins for a Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo, why authorities are tightening security surrounding him and the courthouse. And the final sprint is on for one of the most hotly contested midterm elections in history.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Welcome back. A trip to downtown Sarasota could soon be more expensive. We're now just about an hour away from the start of a Sarasota City Commission meeting where commissioners are expected to decide whether or not paid parking is coming to the downtown area again. ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick joins us from State Street to explain where these meters would go and what kind of rates to expect if commissioners okay the plan.
The city of Sarasota is in a $650,000 parking deficit right now. They say because of maintaining parking garages like this one. The answer to making ends meet may be putting parking meters on the city's busiest streets. The city is proposing that these meters, the same ones being put on St. Armand Circle this December, be placed on Main Street and South Palm Avenue in downtown Sarasota. These are the parking spots in highest demand. The rest of the city, 89% of it, would remain free to park in, and parking garage rates would stay as is. In these designated paid parking areas, the rate would be $1.50 per hour, and drivers could pay by cash, credit card, or through using an app. City Parking Manager Mark Lyons says not only is he going to propose this parking program today, but he'll also ask commissioners to lengthen the parking time restrictions to 8 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. Lyons also wants to create a parking advisory committee to look into things like a toll pass system for the garages and apps. Today will be the second time commissioners have met to discuss the issue this month. Only this time a decision is expected.
Here's the deal. We have people today that pull into private parking lots like the one behind me where we have they have a meter today, and people are paying $3, $4, and even $5 an hour to park because they're willing to do that for convenience. Robert Gibbs, the retail expert, says convenience is the new luxury, and I think in many ways that's true.
If this parking proposal is passed, the meters could be implemented as soon as this coming spring. Today's meeting starts at 1:30, and we are expecting a decision before 4:30 when commissioners break. We'll bring you that decision here on air and, of course, on our website, mysuncoast.com. Reporting in downtown Sarasota, Jess Dowdrick, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Jess, thank you so much. Meteorologist John Scalzi joins us again, and we're into November now, but I think we're going to need the AC a little bit this week, huh?
Yeah, I had to run it this weekend. On Sunday, I had to run it, I'm afraid. But boy, it was nice just cracking up those windows on Saturday, wasn't it?
Saturday is beautiful.
It really, really was. Today, as in the next several days, actually, we're going to have those heat indexes that'll push us pretty close to the 90 mark, I think. I know, it's the wrong time of year for that sort of thing, but that seems to be the new normal. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get another little blast of cooler air as we head into, I think, perhaps the middle of next week or maybe later next week. In any event, for the short term anyway, we're going to get more of the same, which is blue skies to start the mornings, followed by building high-level clouds, and then a few fair weather clouds start to work into the picture, lower-level clouds. And I think a possibility maybe tomorrow of an isolated shower, but I really don't see much around today. And to the north of us we do, and that's because of a frontal boundary that's stalled out there, but locally it's still dry as a bone. We'll generally develop temperatures everywhere that'll crack the 80-degree mark. We're well on the way to about 84 in inland areas, and temperatures are just about where they were yesterday at this hour, or even a little bit warmer, particularly in inland areas. And we'll have that kind of sun-cloud mix, I think, throughout the remainder of this afternoon. The rain chances are basically next to none. Daytime high about 86, Scott.
Thank you. Jury selection begins today in the U.S. trial of Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo. Because of his reputation, authorities are tightening security. Not only is he accused of having a hand in dozens of murders, and using his drug cartel to smuggle more than 200 tons of cocaine into the U.S. He's also known for escaping jail in Mexico. He did that twice. Right now, he's being held in solitary confinement at a New York City jail. Security measures at the Brooklyn courthouse where his trial is taking place will include patrols by heavily armed federal agents. Opening statements are expected in the case next week. From Texas, a tragic end to a happy celebration. Just an hour after their wedding, a couple was killed in a helicopter crash. It happened over the weekend about 80 miles west of San Antonio. Deborah Wrigley has the story.
Bailey Ackerman and William Byler III were classmates at Sam Houston State, and they were in love. Members of the university's rodeo team, they enjoyed the Western lifestyle, the outdoors, and last year they were engaged. Byler, the son of the owner of Houston-based W.T. Byler Construction, their wedding held Saturday at his family's ranch in Uvalde. Rather than leaving in a car, they opted for a helicopter ride to their wedding night hotel when less than 2 hours after they said, "I do the unthinkable." A post from a wedding guest read, "We celebrated their fairy tale wedding and they were surrounded by family and friends as they flew off in the family helicopter. Sadly, they crashed into the side of a hill about a mile from the ranch. The pilot, Jerry, also on board. There were no survivors." The family remains in the hill country, mourning the deaths of a couple whose life together ended before it could begin.
That's Deborah Wrigley reporting. The National Transportation Safety Board is now investigating that crash. A Wisconsin community is mourning the loss of 3 Girl Scouts and a mother. The group was struck and killed by a truck over the weekend while doing charity work. The vigil was held Sunday night for victims. Authorities say it was a hit-and-run crash along a rural highway. The group had been picking up trash in a ditch when a pickup truck went off the road and plowed into them. The crash leaving 3 girls and 1 adult dead and critically injuring a 4th girl. The Girl Scout organization now responding.
They were doing something to make our community better, and a horrible accident happened, and our hearts are broken.
The 21-year-old driver had initially fled the scene, but later turned himself in. He could face multiple charges, including driving under the influence. Election Day less than 24 hours away now in what's shaping up to be one of the most hotly contested midterm elections in history. A record-breaking 34 million Americans have already cast early votes. Both Republicans and Democrats have heavy hitters out on the campaign trail to rally support in this final stretch. ABC's Janae Norman is on Capitol Hill with more.
It's the final campaign blitz in the battle for control of Congress and several state capitals. President Trump's closing argument focused on stoking fears of refugees held by his most fervent supporters.
Democrats are openly encouraging millions of illegal aliens to break our laws, violate our borders,
continuing to use the caravan of poor migrants fleeing violence in Central America as a central election issue.
So if you want more caravans and you want more crime, vote Democrat. If you want strong borders and safe communities, vote for the Republicans.
They're telling us that the single most grave threat to America is a bunch of poor, impoverished, broke, hungry refugees 1,000 miles away.
Former President Obama rallied Democrats in Indiana and Illinois and taking aim directly at President Trump without mentioning his name.
They promised they were going to take on corruption in Washington. Instead, they've racked up enough indictments to field a football team.
And in Georgia, where celebrities like Will Ferrell and Oprah are rallying support for Democrat Stacey Abrams, the race for governor growing more ugly. Over the weekend, some voters received racist automated phone messages impersonating Winfrey.
This is the magical Negro, Oprah Winfrey.
About 34 million Americans already cast early votes, and 80% of voters surveyed in our most recent ABC News Washington Post poll say they will definitely vote. So turnout is on pace to set a record for voters in a midterm election as Americans want to have a say in who controls Congress. Janae Norman, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Students across the country are planning an Election Day walkout tomorrow. The move is meant to encourage young voters to head to the polls for the midterms. More than 25 youth-led activist groups are participating, including March for Our Lives, calling the effort Future Coalition. There were similar nationwide school walkouts earlier this year to protest gun violence. Thanksgiving's still a few weeks away, but a food drive is now underway. Starting today, you can drop off non-perishable food at the Sarasota Police Headquarters. They're located on Adams Lane in downtown Sarasota. City halls, police stations, local schools throughout Manatee and Sarasota counties are also collecting food, and it will all go toward the annual Mayor's Feed the Hungry Thanksgiving Food Drive. If you're a family in need of food this upcoming Thanksgiving, you can apply through the Manatee County Food Bank. Looking ahead, the annual Siesta Key Crystal Classic Sand Sculpting Competition begins in a few days. 24 master sand sculptors will be here from 9 different countries. There will also be live music on the beach until 9 p.m. at night. Festivities start Friday at Siesta Public Beach. Still to come in your Suncoast News, an icky situation on board a Delta flight. A Florida man describes his experience after finding dog droppings in his seat.
ABC 7's official Suncoast Hurricane Guide arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit. Download yours today at mysuncoast.com.
Blue 32! Blue 32! Hut hut! It's the Gettle Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gettle dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gettle location near you or visit Gettle.com.
Gettle's got it.
Picking out a new ceiling fan? That's a do-it-yourself. Installing your new ceiling fan?
No.
That's a don't do-it-yourself. For ceiling fans, rewires, or anything electrical, play it safe. And call on the trained electricians from your locally owned Mr. Sparky. It's no accident that so many of our customers are repeat customers. Trust Mr. Sparky for all your electrical repairs.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
ABC 7 News at 7, weeknights.
Closer to winter and the time change, it is getting darker now earlier. And for many, that may mean a struggle with seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, especially for those living up north. It happens when winter blues turn into a depressed mood that extends for weeks instead of days. The symptoms include disturbances in sleep, loss of interest, decreased energy, and changes in appetite. But there are medications and therapies that can help make a difference.
Bright light therapy is a treatment for a seasonal affective disorder, and this is just a particular type of light that one person can sit in front of for about 20 to 60 minutes a day in the morning to get that boost of energy.
Doctors say it's important not to ignore seasonal depressive symptoms or just chalk them up to holiday stress.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Well, it's rare we have a completely cloudy day here on the Suncoast, and difficult to find a 24-hour period when it's complete clouds and the sun doesn't shine. And we certainly won't see that today, despite the fact that we'll have a fair amount of cloud cover across the region. 81 degrees our air temperature, dew point value coming in 10 degrees cooler at 71 degrees. That's a pretty high dew point, and I think it'll get a little bit higher as we progress through the afternoon. We have a south-southwest wind now, a little bit of a westerly component to the wind. I think we'll probably catch a little bit of a westerly component each and every day for the next several days as our winds turn increasingly south. And eventually, as we head into probably Thursday, we'll see a more defined southwest wind kind of continuing throughout the day that'll really make it feel kind of humid and sticky as we progress into certainly Thursday. But even today is going to be kind of warm and for some folks uncomfortable. 3 p.m. temperature, well, that should probably be 86, not 83. And as we head into the evening hours, we'll look at temperatures that drop back down into the mid-70s. So we're not seeing a whole lot of rainfall across the region currently. That's the good news, I suppose, after the heavy rainfalls that we had on Friday. In fact, some places saw over 1.25 inches of rainfall into some of those storms that moved through. And then we had some pretty good rainfall last night in inland areas, and even along the coastline, 1 or 2 showers moved through. Well, all of that activity is kind of centered now a little bit further to the north, and we really aren't going to see any of that around here. We have a trough of low pressure that's kind of carving out this line of showers, one little system moving off to the north and to the east, and another one diving down into the south, producing the potential of some severe weather a little bit later on today. Atlanta Airport may see some airport delays this afternoon as that low continues to press further to the south and southeast. Locally, everything is pretty quiet. Really don't see much in the way of any weather problems here for the next several days, except it's going to be really hot and muggy. Sun-cloud mix, warm and humid conditions. Maybe a little cooler this weekend as we get another trough that kind of advances and brings a weak cold front into Florida. Chances are, though, it'll stall out just to the south of us and either wash away or return back north as a warm front once again, ushering in more warm weather as we head into next week. But at least we'll get a couple of days of closer to average kind of weather instead of these 5 to 8 degree above average temperatures. You can see not a lot of rainfall around today. We have some slightly drier air filtering in aloft, not at the surface, but aloft, that'll limit the number of showers that we get. Tomorrow we might pick up an isolated shower, but that would be about it. Again, most of the rain located to the north along that stalled frontal boundary that'll eventually wash out. There's what happens with that system diving down from the plains, producing the potential of some really damaging weather in parts of the deep south. There could be some tornadoes or some gusty winds and maybe large hail. And then the whole system kind of by tomorrow moves a little bit closer to the mid-Atlantic states. None of it impacts us. It stays well north of us, and we're left with the only chance that we might have over the next several days is for an isolated thunderstorm or two somewhere across the peninsula, but I really don't see much of a chance of that for us. A lot of cloud cover across the region, off and on throughout the day today and for the next several days. Forecast for boating looks pretty good. South wind coming in at about 10. It's probably true tomorrow as well. And then as we head into the next several days, we stay dry, we stay warm. Election day should not keep anybody away from the polls because of weather. And as we head into the weekend, slight chances of rain, slightly cooler temperatures. Scott?
John, thank you. In consumer news, a Delta passenger is disgusted after he stepped in a large amount of dog waste on his plane. He said he jumped up and asked the flight crew for cleaning supplies, but said he wasn't given much help. South Florida man Ricky Klaus asked if he could get the cleaning crew on board, but was denied. Instead, he says he was given 2 paper towels and a small bottle of gin.
It was everywhere. It was on my seat. It was on the floor. My feet were in it. It was in the bathroom cleaning feces off of the back of my legs, off of my shoes.
Klaus has since reached out to Delta, and a spokesperson said a service animal was ill on the previous flight. A spokesperson apologized to customers impacted by the incident and has reached out to make it right, offering a refund and additional compensation. The airline promised a full investigation. Home improvement in North America is taking a hit. Lowe's is closing dozens of stores next year. The chain announcing it's shutting down 20 locations in the U.S. and 31 in Canada. The stores are expected to close before February 1st. Lowe's did not say how many of its workers will be affected by those closings. No Florida stores are listed among the closing ones. A new United Nations report says Earth's protective ozone layer is healing. So is the gaping ozone hole over the Antarctic. Now, today's report says the Northern Hemisphere's upper ozone layer should be repaired in the 2030s and the Southern Hemisphere's by the mid-century. Experts credit a 1987 treaty that banned ozone-depleting chemicals along with new technology for this global environmental success story. A NASA spacecraft broke the record for closest approach to the sun earlier this week. The Parker Solar Probe is hurtling towards the sun at more than 150,000 miles an hour. The spacecraft set a record Monday for the closest approach to the sun by a human-made object. And this is just the beginning. The Parker Solar Probe is expected to get within 3.8 million miles of the sun by the year 2024. NASA launched that probe in August. Still to come in your Suncoast News, the Bohemian Rhapsody reigned over the box office this weekend, the major sequence in that film that could get an expanded treatment.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Mascara adds depth to the eyes. Lipstick gives the mouth color and definition. And ALS paralyzes the body.
You look great, Mom. Thank you.
Slowly taking away the ability to move and eventually breathe.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Jess Dowdrick.
And I'm Ray Collins. Election day is finally tomorrow. Polls open at 7 a.m.
We'll have a live interview with the Sarasota County Supervisor of Elections and tell you what you need to know before going into the booth tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John.
So we stay under the influence of warm, muggy air for the next several days, but there's relief coming.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you. Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, restaurant guide, and more. Go to mysuncoast.com/dining.
Coming up later today on ABC 7 News at 4, we'll continue to follow today's City Commission meeting on paid parking meters in downtown Sarasota. Plus, more than 5 million Floridians have already voted ahead of tomorrow's general election. Which political party returned more vote-by-mail ballots and who turned out in higher numbers for early voting? We hope you'll join us this afternoon at 4 o'clock. In entertainment news, Bohemian Rhapsody was queen of the box office this weekend, and now the cast has revealed a major sequence in the film could get an expanded treatment. Rick Damigella has details in today's Hollywood Minute.
They will rock you. The cast of Bohemian Rhapsody says they filmed a complete run-through of Queen's 1985 Live Aid concert for the movie. Rami Malek and his co-stars told Collider the full version of the concert recreation may end up as a bonus feature when the movie arrives on home video. Bohemian Rhapsody debuted at #1 at the box office over the weekend.
Do you want to be on board, yes or no? And I said yes.
Casting news, Letitia Wright does dramedy. The Hollywood Reporter says the Black Panther actress has joined the cast of Le Brio, a remake of the 2017 French comedy drama. The movie is produced by singer John Legend's Get Lifted film company.
This train, all aboard.
The Boss brings Broadway home. Variety says Bruce Springsteen is releasing an album from his Springsteen on Broadway show. The 16-song album arrives December 14th, one day before his Tony Award-winning show closes after running since October of last year. Born to Run in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Ludacris and Migos will represent hip-hop culture when they perform at the EA Sports Bowl days before Super Bowl next year. The concert, set to celebrate rappers from Atlanta. Super Bowl 53 is set to take place February 3rd at the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The EA Sports Bowl is part of a 3-day Bud Light Super Bowl Music Fest. And then, of course, we don't know which teams will be playing there yet, but
we know the halftime show is going to be good, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
It always is.
Yeah.
Some pretty decent weather shaping up for us over the next several days, but warm. For some folks who got that little taste of cooler weather on Saturday, they kind of would probably like to see that continue, but it won't. Even with the next cool front, we'll only lower the temperatures down to about average. Just looking ahead, and it's fun to do, you know, looking ahead at some of the long-range computer models way down the road, which of course is still subject to a lot of air.
Sure.
Could get a real blast of cooler air coming our way just before Thanksgiving.
that would be perfect timing. Yeah. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again at 4.